Hi, welcome to Rewind Whenever. I'm Lori,
I'm Kelli.
and we have no Wendy this evening. She's ill, hence our technical difficulties on knowing who we are and who's going to start what. But tonight we are going to do part 3 of Salt Lake City Reunion. Dun, dun, dun. This was quite the episode.
Yeah.
So Brittany, she was so crazy how she wanted to have this grand entrance, right?
He's just thirsty.
So thirsty. And
the thirst is real, people.
Yeah. Andy says, hide your wine bottles and make sure all recording devices are turned off when she came on. That was pretty funny. How
about the dress thing with Angie? So they both showed up with the same dress?
I think that's bullshit. These things are so... Come on. These things are so produced. Those producers know what those girls are wearing. They have to, because it's all color-coded and themed.
It is color-coded.
So I think that was a bunch of...
I'm going to tell you something interesting. You know how Big Brother's always listening and you think about something and then all of a sudden it's on your Facebook feed? Ever since that reunion, it keeps coming up. I don't know if it's Saks Fifth Avenue. I don't know what store is coming up on my Facebook feed, but that dress came up. I believe it's Oscar de la Renta, and it's $10,000. I don't know why it's coming up on my feed. I'm not buying a $10,000 dress.
I'm telling you.
My wedding dress was $1,200.
It's crazy. Now, you see how Andy asked her if she used the Caritas Thermatique?
Mm-hmm.
So, is Bravo getting some kind of cut?
Yes, they are, because of the Bethany clause. Because if Lisa is now doing a deal with Kerastase, Bravo was in on a deal with Kerastase. So, yeah, they are getting a cut.
So, yeah, they are. And hence why they had that, hence why they last reunion number 2, that they featured the Vita tequila, because they're getting a cut.
Yeah, but see
there you go.
But she had Vita tequila before she joined the show. She did.
Okay.
She did.
Okay.
But who knows?
Just
Maybe they are, they're pushing it for some reason. They did the whole trip. They had the big Vita with the letters.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know what's going on with that. And Heather says, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When Jared was supposed to be there and then he canceled his ticket.
Yeah.
That guy's a fucking tool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and they show the thing where production showed the thing where they showed Jared's text, and he's saying that she's so damaged from her past relationships that she makes him out to be the bad guy, and how he needs to date a stable woman. He's such
horrible.
A tool. Such a tool.
He is, because it could very well be true that Brittany is an unstable person. But when you're dating somebody who does not commit to you and plays major games with you, it can make you unstable.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
So what came first, the chicken or the egg? Was she unstable, or are you such a douchebag to date that you made her unstable?
So Brittany says her and Jared have been broken up since June. And they had a couple of false starts. She is just an idiot, an absolute
when she
idiot.
said that, everybody was like, but wait a minute, I saw you here with him, and you were there with him, and you were there with him after June.
She's a train wreck, is what she is.
She is.
The girl, that's what I have here, that the girls say that they've seen her out with Jared, and she goes, but that was as friends. And then, did you hear Mary says they were making out? And then you see how production pushed out that little heading on the screen that says they are an official couple after the reunion.
Yes. They went official on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Which, at their age, really, are you really doing this?
Yeah, I know.
You're going
right?
official on social media. They're older than he's got to be older than me, right?
It's so cringy.
If they're not 50, they're close to it. I mean, at least he has to be.
And so, Andy's asking her why that they broke up. And she's like, it's the same old thing. that she keeps finding texts on his phone from single women. And Heather goes, well, is he like deleting his texts?
What did that mean? I didn't catch that.
Remember, like, when they had the big thing about Brittany recording and she was delete.
Yes.
Okay.
That
was pretty fun.
I did not catch that. That went right over my head.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. Let's see. Andy asks if Bronwyn still thinks that Brittany is more interested in Jared for his name. And Andy points out that the internet seems to agree with Bronwyn. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows with her where her interests lie in him, because I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I do think
I
it has
know.
something to do with the Osmond name, but I also think that she's just that girl that when she catches feelings for somebody, like she's, submissive in the relationship.
Most definitely.
How Bronwyn accusing Bronwyn of contacting her daughters?
Yeah, that was all a weird thing. That was a weird thing.
What the hell was that all about?
Yeah, she's crazy. Let's see what I got next. So we definitely know that, Bronwyn definitely puts it out there. If we go back to Jared real quick, that she just thinks he's like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
That, he won't claim Brittany publicly and treats her poorly. It's just that, he said mean things about Brittany on Twitter. And then production shows the post where he says that Brittany adds drama for no reason in an attempt to be relevant. He said he had never walked away from her, but I don't even know what that means, and has never broken up with her. But, I don't know. He claims he's always been steady and spoiled her over the past year, paid for everything, and has been a true gentleman. And he says rather than her just being steady with him and working through these dating issues, she runs away like a scared child. Like, this is the text that production showed on the screen.
Yeah,
that he said about her. Like, what?
Working through relationship issues, are those issues you contacting other women to hook up?
Yeah,
because
come on.
if those are the issues, then I don't blame her for running away like a little child. Because one, that's fucking hurtful.
Yeah.
And two, she should not be working through anything with you. I mean, we know she does, but she shouldn't be, because that's ridiculous.
And then Bronwyn says that Jared has come for everybody on the show and that Jared called her a treacherous bitch. But then production shows the post and he says, there's really something off about you, and I think I figured it out. You are a tragic little bitch. But still,
not great.
What an asshole.
Right, exactly.
And then production flashes back to the after show where Bronwyn talks about how she's telling Whitney how she overheard a conversation that Jared has a micro penis.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
Heather's acting all indignant about putting the words micro and penis and Osmond in the same sentence.
Who cares?
But they have this weird Osmond thing.
Well, because they're Mormons.
Just some weird Osmond thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Bronwyn offers to read the text from Jared. And Brittany's like, no, he told me about it already. But then Andy says he wants
Andy's
to
like,
hear
I want to hear it.
Yeah. So Bronwyn asks if he wants to hear all of it or just the worst part. And Mary says all of it, all the dirt. Oh, yeah, he calls her a little bitch and says, I guarantee I am twice the size of any man you have ever been with.
That was disgusting.
Mary's face was so hysterical when she said that. She was just like, ew. And then Brittany says, oh, I didn't know that part, and said she was embarrassed. But, if that's how he talks to women.
That's clearly how he talks to women.
Yeah. And then.
So not very gentlemanly.
No. And then Mary says that, he slid into her DMs, but basically it was all respectful. And did you hear Brittany when it's saying, oh, but his love bombing is so good. It's irresistible when he does it.
Like, love bombing is a bad thing, by the way, Brittany.
Yeah, by the way, it's a bad thing.
Like, you fucking idiot.
An idiot, yeah. So then a viewer reads in and asks if Brittany thinks Jared used her to get famous by being on the show.
Well, he said he got her on the show. He said in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
That they brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
He said she got on the show because of him.
Yep. Yeah. So Brittany
Nobody knew who you were.
Yeah. Brittany says, no, he did the show to support me. And then they show, like you said, they show Jared's post where he says basically she got the job because he gives her relevance and that their romantic relationship was not supposed to be used. They were only supposed to be shown as best friends. And how you like that? Whitney saying her dad used to be Osmond's glam squad.
I didn't hear that.
Did
she say that?
Yeah, her dad used to be their hairdresser.
Her dad was on the first season. And obviously, you know from watching this now, he has some substance abuse issues.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, they're still going on because she hasn't spoken to him, which I feel bad about. But I remember the first season when he was on, I'm like, I know him from somewhere. I've seen this guy before. And, you know, I've watched reality TV since The Real World started on MTV. So I've seen it all. And I love, you know, I work at a salon, so I'm going to watch anything about a salon. He was on something, a salon reality TV show. I'm going to have to find it because he was definitely on one. I don't know if it was the one with Tabitha, where Tabitha takes over. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm going to find
it.
Show. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. So she says that. I was like, oh, that.
That's very interesting. I missed that. So he was Osmond's part of the glam squad.
Your glam squad. He did their hair. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Brittany said she's now speaking with both her daughters and that one was there with her in New York. And Bronwyn admits that she has judged Brittany harshly and says that Bronwyn says there were a lot of things in different relationships that she gave up because of Gwen. And she kind of feels like, well, as a mother, that's what you're supposed to do. And like, that's what Brittany should have done. So Brittany says something weird. So Brittany says that Bronwyn was the only one who knew why she was estranged and said Bronwyn had a personal connection.
Yeah. She's accusing her of reaching out to her daughters.
Yeah, but I don't know what that means.
And Bronwyn said, I never did. And she said, you had your minions or your flying monkey. She said something like you had your people do it.
Flying monkeys.
So I guess people reached out to Brittany's daughters and was like, your mom was never on Broadway, you know, saying things about Brittany to them.
I
couldn't follow, quite honestly.
I couldn't follow it either, but I just want to know what this means. Because Brittany says that Bronwyn was the only one who knew exactly why she was estranged from her daughters.
Yeah, I think that's what she's accusing her of. She was accusing her of reaching out to her daughters, but Andy was very clear. He was like, Brittany, you were estranged from your daughters before you interviewed to be on the show.
Right.
You didn't even know Bronwyn yet.
Right.
But she was insistent, but Andy kept correcting her. So whatever she's trying to spin is clearly a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, it's just very bizarre. Mm-hmm. And Bronwyn said, like, she's not responsible for what someone else said to her daughters. So it was weird. It was kind of like she was trying to say that Bronwyn was talking to some of her friends and that some of Bronwyn's friends came to Brittany's daughters and said things to her. But who does that? It doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And again, Andy was like, but Brittany, you were already not speaking to your daughters before we interviewed you. You didn't even know Bronwyn yet. Bronwyn didn't even know anything about you yet.
Yeah.
Like the timeline just doesn't match up.
No, it doesn't match up. So when Brittany comes back and she says, well, you know, Bronwyn's comments about me not doing Broadway, calling her Brit Tawny, like, what are you even talking about? And even Andy looks confused.
He's very confused.
And then Brittany says like this. She goes, this is when she says but she means Bronwyn's. This is when Bronwyn's friends were so alarmed that they had to talk to my babies. Like, what are you?
Yeah,
she's nuts. No sense at all.
She's really nuts.
Yeah. So basically, Brittany is saying that Bronwyn's friends sat Brittany's kids down and said, your mom is telling the women that you're jealous of her, and then that's why you're not talking to her, that your mom is saying that you guys broke up her happy marriage to husband number 2,
Yeah,
and
that
it's
was fun.
your fault. What is she talking about?
I don't know. That was really messed up that they said
It's
that.
just
She said that they said that.
Yeah.
I just don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. I don't find her trustworthy. I don't find her credible. I think she just wants to be on the show. She's going to do whatever she wants. So I think she came into that reunion to spin all of this to create beef with Bronwyn so that she'll be asked back. So that
I
people,
guess.
you know what I mean? To try to get a second season.
Yeah. And Brittany says,
liked her though.
No, Brittany says, you've got some things to pay for.
Right.
And Mary's face was like that I smell shit face. It was so great.
Yep.
It was great.
Yep. I mean, at some point, Mary says, I hope you don't come back or whatever, I hope whatever she said, but that's basically what she meant.
And then they go back and forth about Brittany leading a double life. And then Brittany and Lisa chime in on their pseudo-Mormonism. It's just a big mess.
Yeah.
Andy brings up to Meredith that Angie never called Brittany a slut and that she was just repeating what was said. And then Mary's like, yeah, but you didn't even get both sides of the story. And then Bronwyn says, like, you can't be mad when you say love wine and then somebody buys you a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, if you drink
Angie
alcohol in front of someone and then you invite them to your home and they bring you a bottle of wine, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. No. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care if they knew you were Mormon, if they didn't know you were Mormon. I don't give an F. If you drink alcohol in front of someone and they bring you a bottle of wine as a house gift because they're coming to your house, accept it and say thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Heather said it. She's leading a double life.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany's leading a double life because she's a fake and she's a phony.
Absolutely. And then Andy asked Brittany how she felt when the girls supported her after admitting that, she's sleeping with Jared. And then Mary's like, well, why didn't you even bring it up? And Brittany says, because she wanted to be in good faith and rectify something she actually did lie about, as opposed to the recordings, which she says she did not lie about. But that's bullshit. Girl, you were doing those recordings, and the only reason you brought that shit up with Jared and made your big old confession was because you were trying to deflect. That's all you were trying to do. And then Andy asked Lisa about her saying that Bron was ungrateful for the trip when Lisa was upset about flying coach. I thought that was a good one. Yeah. And how about, Lisa, part of the conversation was missing. So what she's trying to say is that she wanted Bronwyn to have the matching master suite like she had, but just in their villa.
Because of her dog bite.
That was
she was full of shit.
Oh, that was so full of shit.
She was so full of shit.
I was like, girl, you should have just
think Bronwyn overreacted about everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But that was a bad excuse.
It was bad. I was like, you should have just left that one alone, girlfriend. Just
don't even let it.
Yeah. And then they were talking about the dog bite. And that's about how you're supposed to put your finger in the dog's butthole. It's like,
oh, I didn't catch that.
Oh my God. You didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah, so they're talking about the Bronwyn's dog bite, and then because Bronwyn was saying, like, I've been around a lot of dogs. I know what you're supposed to do if a dog attacks you. You're not supposed to move. You're not supposed to jerk your arm. You're not supposed to yell. All those things. But I didn't do those things. I did the opposite. I jerked my arm. I yelled.
Which is a natural reaction.
And then someone asks, well, what are you supposed to, what do you do in that situation to get the dog off of you? And Mary says, you're supposed to choke him out. And then I forget who's Mary. And then I forget who it was that said, you're supposed to put your finger in their butt. Yeah, it was so funny. I was laughing.
Bite, man.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard about that. I was like, what are you saying on TV?
Now I got to Google it and see if it's true.
Yeah. And then Heather asked if she sued for the dog bite. And then Bronwyn said, no, And then Bronwyn said, no, she actually paid for some kind of medical issue that the dog had and found a farm that the dog could be on so it wasn't around other dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Andy brings up the tags on the clothes with Whitney. And Whitney says, oh, I heard it from somebody who works at Nordstrom's. And Lisa with, I don't shop at Nordstrom.
So, whatever.
And then how about Angie telling Meredith that should be able to, she says Meredith should be able to take her out. She's a fucking beauty school student.
That was the best.
Great.
She's a lawyer. I'm a beauty school student. That was the best.
And I actually liked Meredith's chuckle at the end of that.
Absolutely. It's fun. Absolutely.
So how about when Andy asks if Bronwyn thinks Lisa likes to play the victim and does she have trouble having empathy for others? I wrote down here, Lisa, if this is even a question that was brought up, obviously by Bravo.
Yeah. Take note.
Take note. If somebody has to ask somebody else that question about you on national television.
Yeah. Well, I liked Bronwyn's response, though. She said Lisa takes things about herself more seriously than what's said about other people. And she's right.
Yes. Most definitely.
That hit the nail on the head.
What else you got? Anything?
Oh, yeah. Meredith would not let Brittany talk, but I probably wouldn't either. That's my next note. Mary said hopefully Brittany's not back. She asked Mary why she doesn't like her, and then she just kept cutting Mary off when Mary was trying to explain why she didn't like her.
Telling you.
And then Meredith brings up that she talked to Jen Shah, and Whitney asks, how's that different than her talking to Monica? And I do kind of agree with them. Like, Jen went to jail. She's taking accountability for her actions. You know, she's paying for her criminal behavior. Monica just kind of was just trying to destroy them. Not while she was on the show, but prior to being on the show. So I get that.
Yeah, but you know, there's with that Monica thing, though, there's still a lot of culpability in there, especially with Heather and Heather's hairdresser. I mean, that was messy.
Totally
that
agree
was
with
not just Monica on her own. And I think if you put the two things side by side, I mean, Jen Shah destroyed people's lives for possibly generations in some people. You know what I mean? You rob from somebody who's elderly, you're taking from their kids and their grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different than somebody having like a Finsta account and talking smack.
Yeah.
To me, there's a big difference there. And I've seen a lot of things online where some people are like, well, you know what? It's a double-edged sword because if you get upset about them possibly hiring Jen Shah back, on the other side of it is if Jen Shah comes back, she can make the money to pay the people back that she has to pay back. So it's kind of 6 of one, a half a dozen of the other.
Yeah. I'm real curious to see if they bring Jen Shah back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they brought Teresa back after she went to prison. I mean, not only did they bring her back, they didn't film while she was in jail. They did not film. Well, they filmed, but they only filmed her husband and her girls. It was like a 3-episode thing. They did not film Housewives without her.
Right.
So we knew that wasn't going to happen with Jen.
Right.
But I'll be curious to see if she comes back, Jen. So Whitney and Lisa like try to hash things out, but it's very clear that Lisa doesn't want to move on with her.
Yeah, it was weird.
And they both start yelling, like nobody can get a word in. Meredith's talking, Bronwyn's talking, Angie's talking, everybody's talking. But they do finally, at the end, kind of agree to move on. But Lisa's very clear, like, if this happens again, so what is she saying? What was the whole thing with the text message? They want to burn it, right? They're going to burn it and let it go. So, but Lisa's very clear and says, if this happens again, it's reignited like gas. Poured on it, reignited.
And I am not a Lisa fan, but I can see the point. I mean, if you keep doing the same, you can't say something, say you're sorry for it, and then talk about the same thing again, and then say you're sorry for it, and then talk about the same thing again and say you're sorry for it. Like after a while, it's like, no, fuck you.
Yes. Because 2 seasons ago, Whitney brought up a rumor that Lisa sleeps around to get Utah Jazz tickets for her husband to go watch the Jazz play or something like that.
Stupid.
So there were cheating allegations 2 seasons ago, and Whitney brought them up on camera and was pissed off at Heather for not co-signing it, because apparently Heather was involved in a conversation. They had a conversation with somebody who said that this actually happened. So this is at least the second time that I can remember off the top of my head that Whitney has alleged that they've had extracurricular activities in their marriage. So yeah, like, enough now.
Right.
Stop, or we're not cool.
Right.
So at this point, Brittany's left, and Mary asks them to say nice things about each other. Now, I have who said nice things about who, but I don't have what they said. Mary said something nice about Heather. Lisa said something nice about Whitney. Meredith said something nice about Angie. Angie said something nice about Meredith. Bronwyn said something nice about Heather. Heather said something nice about Bronwyn. Whitney said something nice about Lisa. And then they show Brittany, and she's like, I should be out there. I want something nice said about me.
You are a friend of, girl.
Go home, Brittany.
I don't know what you're thinking.
Go home.
Go home. It's crazy. And do you see
You
she
should have
put
been
out
on a plane by now.
Yeah. See, she put out a post about how she snuck out of her dressing room.
No.
She snuck out of her dressing room before it was her time to come out onto the stage. She did a social media post. She snuck out of her dressing room. She was like backstage, like peeking around the bush and shit when Angie first came out in her. What are you doing? Saying,
oh my God,
I should be out there now. Yeah.
She's nuts, this girl. She's nuts. Bravo,
nuts.
Run,
Yeah.
Bravo.
I like how, I did like how Mary said in regards to Brittany, she said, I got enough going on in my life right now. I don't need another wreck.
That's so funny. Like, best comeback season ever of any housewife.
Oh,
Mary Cosby.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, hands down, she gets it. Best comeback season ever in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, so what Mary said to Brittany was, get over it. It's done, and hopefully you are too.
That's what she said. That's amazing. But so good.
The other two things I have is Meredith. Like, why is Meredith so jacked up about puking?
Wow. I don't want to make any assumptions, but to me, when someone gets that jacked up about something, it means that they're guilty of something, right? Maybe Meredith has some kind of form of an eating disorder, and she doesn't want anybody knowing, obviously, because that's her personal business. Right. I'm just guessing. I clearly don't know.
Right.
But that was my personal opinion. I think maybe she does have something, or listen, there's a lot of allegations out there about Seth being with other women, right?
Right.
Maybe he is. I personally feel that Meredith and Seth have an open marriage, and they're just not saying it. And I think that's unfortunate, because I think they should be open about that. If that's your marriage, be honest about it. It's nobody's business, and nobody has the right. And who cares what anybody else's opinion? If this works for you, beautiful.
Right.
Maybe she was arguing on the phone with Seth over something and got so upset that she vomited.
Yeah. She's just like, the punishment's not fitting the crime. Like, the math is not mathing with that one. I'm like, whoa,
Agreed.
Like, why are you so jacked? And I don't know if you noticed it, but when they were having that discussion, the camera pans to Angie and Mary, and they look at each other like I don't know if they know something.
Yes.
But they just looked at each other like,
yes.
You know? Yeah, I thought that was very telling.
I honestly think that Meredith is a big phony baloney on this show. I think that Meredith's life is vastly different than what she puts out on camera. And that's why when somebody accuses her of something, says something she doesn't like, she flies off the handle.
She loses her shit.
Yeah. Because she's so scared of, like, the jig is up. Like, she's so scared of the jig being up.
I don't know what it is, but I was just like, girl, like, protested a little too much. She must be paying
a lot of people off to keep their mouths shut, though, because I don't think anything she shows us on this show is her real life.
No, I don't know.
And there's got to be somebody out there ready to spill the beans. Spill the beans, for the love of God.
One would think. And the other thing I have, Lisa's drama and her comment with the trafficking was over the top.
Did I miss this too?
You didn't miss that?
How am I watching.
That's fucking watching.
I'm not going to lie. I have written down at some point, I zoned out. I'm bored.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
Where is it? I have it written down.
Well,
All
I
right, go
knew
ahead. Tell me.
I knew Wendy was sick, so I knew I had to take
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
some notes more than I normally do. But so anyway, so Lisa was trying to say that the reason why she gets so jacked up about her marriage and everything is that because she was one of 6 kids. She said, I was one of 6 kids and I could have been trafficked and my parents wouldn't even have known. And my family is very important to me because that's all I have. And my marriage, yeah. You missed that one, huh? Yeah, I was like, girl.
I missed that one. And that's very unfortunate that you think that you could have been trafficked and your parents would not have known.
And you know what? Don't put yourself out there in the same category with anybody who is trafficked.
Well, that's true.
I just thought that was like a really
insensitive
dumb,
thing to say.
insensitive thing to say. And
for sure,
I do not believe that your life was quite as horrible as you are making that statement, making
Correct.
it out to be. Like, what are you doing? But
right.
she was just her drama and crying. If she cries one more time, if I was on that, I could never be on a show like that because I would just got up and smacked her.
Well,
just
her too,
smacked
though.
her out
It's
of
like,
her crying jig.
She and Meredith hold themselves higher than the rest of them. They just do. They hold themselves higher. They're up here. Everybody else is down here. I mean, they both think they're queen. I think Lisa really thinks she's Queen Bee. I don't think Meredith really needs the title, but I don't think Meredith is showing us anything honest about her marriage, her life, anything.
Oh, and I think she definitely thinks she's better than the rest of them.
For sure.
She just does. She just thinks she's better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Meredith's face when Andy was saying all those nice things about Mary. I don't know if you caught that.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to watch it. It's just at the very end. It's quite interesting. And then she has to,
interesting.
You should see it. And then she has to interrupt. She interrupted when Andy was at the tail end of his nice things to say about Mary. She interrupted with, I don't remember what it was she interrupted with, but she did interrupt. And I was like, oh, no, I know he's talking to you. Let him finish saying what he's saying. Saying something so nice. So, I don't know.
She probably didn't know where it was going to go, but thankfully she and Mary ended everything on a good note.
Yeah, I think with that situation, I think probably Mary thought that her friendship was more than what Meredith thought it was. And I think that it just, something happened where Mary was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm not.
Yeah, and Mary does seem like the type of person that does not let people in. She's very guarded. Like Angie, like she let her in. So please, Angie, don't fuck that up because Mary clearly needs a good friend right now.
Yeah. But I think that's the deal with her and Meredith. I think that Mary kind of opened up with Meredith, thought it was going to be something, and then maybe like Meredith blew her off or did something kind of jack up her insecurity thing that Mary's got, her abandonment thing. And Mary was like, oh, okay. It's not where I thought it was. It's something a lot more shallow than what I thought. So, all right. So we're done.
That's it.
So
no more Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City. I did enjoy it though.
I did too. I thought it was a good season. I mean, Mary, the whole thing with Mary, it was so
very moving and
moving
relatable.
Is a perfect word.
Moving and relatable. Word.
And if you haven't dealt with addiction in your family,
then you
God
don't know.
Bless you. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. You're very fortunate.
You're very fortunate, but this just gives you a little bit of insight into what
a little glimpse.
A parent and, the rest of everyone in the family is always affected, but the parents bear the brunt of it and, of course, harbor guilt. Like they should have done more, even though, honestly, there's nothing more they could have done.
No.
But it was a good season. I agree. Heather
Was a
did
good
not
season.
annoy me as much as she normally does. She normally annoys
Did you
the
notice how
F out of
quiet
me.
she was? Notice
Yes,
how
I
quiet
did.
she was when they were talking about Jen Shah?
Yes.
Yeah, Missy didn't have a thing to say.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
It's
Bravo's
going to be
setting her
very
up.
interesting because I mean, they're definitely going to have another season before Jen's out of jail. Even though her sentence keeps getting shortened, they're definitely going to film another season before she gets out of jail.
But Bravo's definitely setting Heather up for her own show, because
You think?
she got, oh, fuck yeah. She got to do that whole thing at the dinner about the phones. She did the whole toast at the end of the reunion. Come on.
You think she's going to get like a spinoff for her beauty lab?
For the beauty lab.
Interesting.
So we shall see.
We shall see.
All right. So till next time, have a good evening.
Please give us 5-star reviews, follow us, and share us, please.
Yes. And continue to comment. We love your comment.
We love the comments.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.